Hello, my name is NG and welcome to this new tutorial. Now in this tutorial 13, I'm going to teach you how to different ways of outputting characters or text in Java. Now as you can see, I've created a new project which I called format, and I've created a new main method. Now in between here, let's declare some variable. I will say string name. You can call yours anything you like, and let me put my name here and end this with a semicolon. Then let's string place and equal sign. Let's put moon, and let's declare another integer type of variable, and I'll call this value, let me call it number 1, and let me assign 10 to it. Let's end this thing. Let's create another integer number 2, and let me assign 20 to this thing. Alright, I've just created a normal variable. This one is string, this one is a string variable, this one is an integer variable, and this guy here is also an integer variable. So let me show you now. Sysout control speaks, and let me just print name. Now this is this system.out.println. I presume you're already familiar with it. In my previous tutorial, I've always used this system.out.println. There is also another way of printing out anything you want to print out, and this one is system.out.print, no ln, then open a bracket and let me print out place and end this thing with a semicolon. Now you see I'm just printing out this place, and let's print this thing. This is the first one I printed, which is name, and this is the second one, moon. Now I know you want to ask what's the difference between this one and this one. Now the only difference is that this one, anyway, the best way is for me to show you. Let me comment this out. Now the compiler of course is going to ignore this one. Let's run this program. It will only print out this one. Now this one, if I print another value with system.out.print, let's print, oh, I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. Let's print this my name using this print. Now everything is going to be on the same line. You see, everything is on the same line. Now this one does not move the next character. This guy here, it will only print. This guy here will move after printing it out. It's going to move the next line. It's going to move to the next line. It's going to move to a new line. But in this case, this will print out this thing, but it will not move to the next line, as you can see. But if I comment this out, and let me comment this out, and let me print this one using println sysout control space, and this thing is going to print it on a new line. You see, each is being printed on a new line. Unlike this one, it's going to print both of them on the same line. So that's just basically the difference between this one and this one. This one will print each on a new line, but this one is just going to print it on the same line. Let's comment this out, and let me change this thing to name, and let me print it out now. See, it's printing both of them on the same line, even though I am using different print statement. Now there is a way you can move this thing to the next line by using the word. Let me concatenate this, let me put double quote here. Just put your slash, then the new keyword. Now it's going to move to the next line. If you see, it printed the first one, then the next one, it moves, the next printing is going to be on the next line. So this is how to move to the next line. If you are using, let me remove this thing and print it again. See, it's printing both of them on the same line. Now let me add backslash the end keyword, and it's going to move this thing to the next line. Now this is how to move to the next line. There's also another one. Let me leave this thing first, and let me print another word, and let me move this one also to the next line, and let's just print this one. Okay, so sys out control space, I want control ln. Now let me print place. I'm printing place. Let me just copy this thing and paste it here because I want to print the same thing. Now the first one, new line. Now this one is printing moon on the same line. Now let's say I want to space this thing out. I will use and here you put your backslash and put T for tab. Now I will move this thing to the next tab. Now you see it has moved it to the next. You use this one to move to the next line, and you use this one to move to the next tab. Now let me also show you another one. Let me show you another one. Let's use sys out control space, and let me print in number. Let me print in number 1, and let me just test it and see if it's working. It will print out 10. Here I need to space this one out. Let me just space it out. Alright, it's gonna print out 10. Now let's see, let me comment this thing out. I'll comment this one out. Now let's say I want to print all these things in the same line. Of course I could just come here and say number 2. Of course it's gonna also print 30, and let me add the name. Let me just add all of them here. Name, and let me add place. So have double sign here. So I'm just printing out all these things on the same line. Now if you watch, this is not a kind of a neat way of printing this thing. There's also a better way of printing all these things and the same line by using, let me delete this thing. You open a double quote, and you use, there's what we call a placeholder in Java. Now a placeholder for a string, it starts with, just put in your percentage sign, then put x, here, and in here you put comma, then put what you want to appear on this piece, or what you want to be to replace this placeholder right here. And in this case I want to put name, so I'm going to put name. So this name, sorry, this thing is meant to be printf, not println. System.out.printf, meaning formatted outputs. So you put your placeholder here and what you want to replace this place, which is name. So if I output this thing, I'm also gonna get Ngozi. So let me just comment all these things out here, and let me output it. I'm gonna get Ngozi here. So I can also add another placeholder here, and I can say something like this. I can say, let me add another placeholder, begin with %sign and X, and let me put place, comma, place, and let's run this thing. I'm going to get Ngozi and Moon. So this thing here is replacing this placeholder, and this one is taking the place of this placeholder. Now if I want this thing to be printed in the next line, I can just come here and use that word, the new line, and also come here and put the new line, and let's print this thing out. It's going to print out Moon, so it's printing both of them in the same line. So this is just a placeholder for string. Now there's also a placeholder for integer. Let's say string, no, system dot out dot print f, open a bracket. Now I can just come here and also put a placeholder beginning with %sign X, now comma, my name. This is a placeholder. Let me end this thing with a semicolon. Now this is a placeholder for a string like you've seen here. Now I will also come here, let's give a space, put a %sign, then D. Now this D is a placeholder for integer. Now I'll put a comma here and put number 1. So it's going to display this one. This number 1 is going to replace this one here. So let's run this thing. You see Ngozi 10. So this name here has replaced this placeholder. This placeholder is for strings, character, and this placeholder, this one, that's %D, is for integer variable. Now let's print this thing on a new line. Still come here and put a new line, and also come in here and put a new line. Let's just join it so that, or rather let's leave space so that you understand. You see 10, it printed the first one, Ngozi, which is this one, and the name, which it was, it's giving a space, so let's close this thing up here. You see Ngozi, and it's printing 10. So this is just a placeholder. This makes our work more easier. You just, instead of you concatenating many strings, you can just come here, put your placeholder. You can put as many placeholder as you want, but provided that the number of placeholder that is here matches the number of variables that is here. I can also add another one here. Just put comma, and let me add place, and I'll put a placeholder here beginning with %sign and X, and let me put a new line if I like, and let's print this thing out. It's going to print out a Moon. So you can put as many placeholder here as you want, provided it must match the number of variable, and it must be in order. This variable here must be in order in which you put your placeholder. The first placeholder is a string, accept string. The second one accept integer. Now the third one accept string. It must be in that order. The first variable string, the second one integer, and the third one which is strings. So this is just all you need to know about different way of printing out your output, and also different way of manipulating how your output is going to look like. So that's it for this tutorial.